Okay, Steve, tell me about this season with the elk. What's going on in Estes Park?
So that's a great question, because every season has a little bit different personality, I guess you would say, for the elk. Right now, the male elk are joining together a group of females or calves. They don't really care about the calves too much, but the calves are going to stick with their moms, okay? And they're trying to keep that group together, and they're threatening any intruders that come into their area or their space. So this is called the fall rut, and the fall rut is a season where the elk are bugling, and you hear that almost scary noise at times. And it's kind of a scream. Yeah. Right?
It's woken me up before.
It has, yeah. And it can be really loud if it's nearby. So yeah. They inhale a bunch of air, and then they bugle by contracting their diaphragm.
And that's when we see their bellies moving.
Their bellies are moving, right? Yep. And I was just going to say that his antlers, it looks to me like he has maybe 6 points on each side. So we would call that a 6x6 bull. So the 6x6 bull is a royal bull, okay? And they usually don't get those full 6 points until they're maybe 4 or 5 years old at least. So, and then their prime would be around 9 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
And he seems to have a smaller harem. Is that correct?
I don't know if we're not seeing some of the elk that might be laying down in the willows out there, but he definitely does have a smaller harem. And again, we're using some terminology here. The bull is the male, and the cows and calves are the females. The bull just bugled, and you might have heard that. He's probably trying to say, let's stay together. And you can see him, he's walking over to cut off the cow who was wandering away. It's possible that there's another bull someplace that she's interested in, and he's showing that, you know, he's here and he's vocal, and he's going to have to mess with him. Sometimes the elk are in a herd, and there might be satellite bulls who come in and want to, you know, vie for that place of dominance in there. Maybe they want to mate with the cows. And so they'll threaten them, and they'll have a sparring match. And whoever wins that sparring match gets to be the dominant bull, who then takes care of that harem. And the others will circle around on the outside and look for an opportunity where one might wander off and be available. Interestingly, they don't have very many teeth, except for the molars in the back for grinding up the grasses that they eat and stuff like that. But they have remaining 2 ivory teeth right here in the top of their jaw. And those were thought to be maybe tusks at one time.
Oh, wow.
Before they had the antlers. And so they would threaten or spar with another bull using their tusks instead. But now they've receded back up to it's just basically a tooth on the side of their head. It doesn't match with other teeth down below, so it doesn't do any of the grinding or anything like that. But they do have those remaining tusks. And those, sometimes they're called ivories and sometimes they're called buglers.
So if this guy lost in a match to another elk, could he lose his harem?
Yes.
And then he'd just be lonely.
And then he'd be lonely, or be one of those satellite bulls. And he might be a satellite bull, since we don't see the other around, because he doesn't have a very big harem, and we know that there's a lot of elk that come into the Moraine Park area.
Would he have a chance to gain a harem next fall then?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because as they age, up until they're about 10 years old, their antlers continue to grow and become more impressive and stuff like that. Wow. And then they're stronger and they're more capable fighters and everything else. So, yeah. Next year he might be the dominant one.
Wow.
So,
how old do they get to be?
I think in the wild they can get to, well, they start to lose some of their health after the age of 11 and 12. and it can maybe be 15 years old.
Okay.
Before, but I would say a lot of them die off before then.
Okay.
Too. So yeah,
Huh.
that's an old age for an elk.
Wow. We often see a lot of elk at the Y in the evening time. Can you tell us a bit why they end up at the Y in the admin field?
Yeah, so they are primarily grazers. They want grasses, okay? So deer are more browsers. They'll nibble off branches and stuff like that, shrubs. But the elk like to graze on the grasses, and they love admin field because it's nice green grass. So it just laid down by its mom, potential mom. But they do have, because they have to eat and they want to be aware of predators, they have like a babysitting system. So the one female will be the lookout for all of the herd, you know. And generally it's the females who determine where they're going to go too. It's not the big bull. He just tries to keep them together, but one of the female cows will lead the group.
Nature is fascinating.
It is fascinating. When Western settlers came to Estes Park and came to this area, there was a large population of elk, 1860, and by 1880, there were very, very few elk.
Really?
Yeah, and actually, by the early 1900s, they had been completely wiped out. They're called extirpated from here.
What?
There was no elk at all in the Estes Valley.
When they found the Y, basically.
Yeah, about the time they found the Y. Yeah.
Wow.
So in, I think it was 1915, F.O. Stanley realized that they were part of the culture of Estes, and he imported elk from Wyoming, down from the Yellowstone and Grand Teton area.
Really?
Yeah, he brought down, I don't know, maybe 24 elk at first, and then a few more a couple years later. And they escaped from the Stanley Hotel. And once they escaped, their population doubled like every few years.
Wow.
And so they quickly, by the 1930s, there was actually a hunting season for elk again.
Wow.
So, yeah.
And we got plenty of elk today.
And we have a lot of elk today. Actually,
Arguably too many.
arguably too many.
Well, this was amazing. I learned so much today about the elk. I'm always so curious about them. Please comment down below what's a fun fact you learned today. And we're gonna have more fun facts with Steve coming up. So Thank you, Steve.
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, it'll be great.
This is awesome.
So, yeah.
High five.
High five.